Brave, intelligent, kind, loyal. Who am I describing? Well, I'm positive you've heard of her, but you might also think she's not really real. Yet, to millions of people, her character is one of the most striking spirits you can come across in literature or film, and embodies real women everywhere. Her name is Hermione Granger, the female lead in the beloved Harry Potter series, written by J.K. Rowling.
One of the things is you've got, I guess, the trio, Harry, Hermione, and Ron. And in that group, there's no sense that one of the group is superior to the other or different from the other. Like you look at the Three Musketeers, they're all men. Or the Hardy Boys, they're all men. Or in famous pairs, Don Quixote and Sancho Panza, Lone Ranger and Tonto. But here we have equal members of a group. Hermione, the female, is not the sidekick. In fact, it is she who often rescues Harry and Ron.
That's Mimi Gladstein, author of the essay Feminism and Equal Opportunity, Hermione and the Women of Hogwarts. Gladstein is also a professor of English and literature at the University of Texas in El Paso, which makes her an honorary Harry Potter fan. We were curious if the power of Hermione Granger's character has led to any kind of shift in thinking in our culture. To help us answer that question, Gladstein traveled back in time to share her favorite female literary hero from her own childhood that came long before the Harry Potter series.
When I was a young girl, which is 1,000 years ago, I read the Oz books. And what I loved about the Oz books is that Dorothy is a main character, that the witches, Ozma of Oz and Glinda the Good, there are a lot of important female characters in the Oz series. And so as I'm growing up and I'm reading these, I'm realizing, I guess I internalized it. Women can do anything.
Throughout history, there are examples of prominent female heroes. But for the millennial generation, what do modern young women like Hermione truly have to offer, even if they are fictional? Well, Amy Hogan, who is the creative media manager for MuggleNet, has some theories. MuggleNet is one of the largest online Harry Potter fan organizations in the country, and Hogan's day-to-day involves creating a web-based social network for Harry Potter enthusiasts to come together and connect on. Hogan's generation, who grew up with the Harry Potter books, can resonate with the series in more ways than one.
We're talking a lot about Hermione, which I think really encompasses what the feminist movement has turned into for millennials, especially. As a female, she's not afraid to be who she is. She recognizes that she's equal to everyone else. She's not waiting around for someone else to solve the problem. She's out there ahead of it. And she views everybody as equal. Not just wizards. There's the whole theme of SPEW and rights for house elves and other magical creatures that some wizards view as lesser. She's really kind of all about equality for everybody, which I think is a huge theme in my generation's view of feminism.
But not everyone agrees with the benefits of reading the Harry Potter books. The element of sorcery has landed the novels on a multitude of banned book lists ever since their debut in 1997. In fact, just this fall, one Nashville Catholic school forbid the reading of the books in their library due to the use of spells in the text, according to CBS News. Hogan couldn't believe that in 2019, people were still banning these beloved stories from shelves.
I guess I have an interesting view on this because I was homeschooled growing up, and a lot of my friends were not allowed to read Harry Potter because of witchcraft. I always tried to explain that these books, it's not preaching evil. They're not tearing apart the Bible. In fact, in some parts, if you're looking for that symbolism, there is some theological and religious symbolism in there.
And what sort of impact does banning the books have on young minds?
I think that there's a lot of lessons that can be gained from these books, and it does make me sad that there are some kids out there who won't be exposed to that because of these conclusions that people jump to about the content before actually delving in and reading it and judging for themselves.
The character Hermione gave Hogan an unbelievable gift that is more than just words on paper. It gave her a passage into literature that she had never seen before.
As a kid, up until I read the Harry Potter books, I didn't really see myself reflected in a character. Most of the female characters I was reading about in young children's books and those like tween books, it seemed like they were all like the fairy tale princesses or just kind of the side characters. So it was kind of the first time I, as a young reader, saw a female character taking the lead and being more than just a sidekick. I very much was a young Hermione when I was a kid. Bossy, but I embraced it because it was okay. I think that for a lot of young girls who maybe aren't getting that support from their family and friends, that it's okay to be like that. It's okay to be outspoken and be in charge of yourself.
Hermione is definitely not a sidekick, and neither is J.K. Rowling, the author herself. Gladstein said the creation of Hermione was actually partially autobiographical for Rowling. The obstacles the female heroine faced were sometimes all too real for Rowling. Gladstein reminded us of some of the detrimental stereotypes that come with being a female in a male-dominated world.
One of the problems that she dealt with early on, I mean, why is she known as J.K. Rowling and not her name? And that's part of the stereotyping that occurs in publishing. It's like they didn't think boys would want to read a series by a woman. And so there is that certain amount of stereotyping in publishing.
However, Rowling doesn't let being a woman seem too detrimental through the adventurous lives of her characters.
One of the important things I love in the Harry Potter series is the way the women are part of the Quidditch teams. In the Quidditch teams, they're talking about, who's the catcher and who's making a goal, et cetera, et cetera. And you don't really realize until a few sentences later that these characters are female, and you only get to realize that is when they use a pronoun. They say her this or her that.
But not all women in the wizarding world are heroes. And for a literature buff like Gladstein, that's one of the beauties of the books.
There's enough not just villainous males, but there's also villainous females. And I think one of the most, Umbridge is one of the most horrible villainous females. And so I'm happy to see, those kinds of characters in literature too, not just, the strong male evil features. Rowling has, male and female characters across the moral spectrum. You've got incompetent men and incompetent women. You've got evil men and evil women. And you've got great young men and great female characters. It's not just Hermione, but there's others.
Since 1997, over 500 million copies of Harry Potter have been sold. The books in total have grossed more than $7.5 billion in sales. And J.K. Rowling's estimated net worth puts her on the short list of billionaires.
J.K. Rowling is the wealthiest woman in England. She's even wealthier than the Queen. So I guess we're not the only people that like the Harry Potter series.
According to Hogan, the series and its magical life lessons is a slice of reality that's not going anywhere anytime soon. To learn more about our guests, Mimi Gladstein and Amy Hogan, and the role of feminism in one of the most treasured series of our time, visit viewpointsradio.org. For more behind the scenes, follow Viewpoints Radio on Twitter and Instagram. This segment is written and produced by Annie Kroll and Amira Zaveri. Studio production by Jason Dickey. I'm Marty Peterson.
Viewpoints returns in just a moment.
Holiday celebrations are often joyous occasions, but they can be challenging for the millions of people living with Alzheimer's disease and those who care for them. The hustle and bustle of the holidays can be stressful for those with Alzheimer's, and changes in the daily routine, large gatherings, and noisy environments can create extra anxiety. Monica Marino, Senior Director of Care and Support at the Alzheimer's Association, has some tips to make the holidays enjoyable.
First, plan ahead. Prepare the host for special needs, such as a quiet room for the person to rest. If you're hosting, let guests know what to expect before they arrive. Since crosstalk and multiple conversations can be challenging for people living with Alzheimer's, try engaging the person one-on-one or in smaller groups and keep them involved in the celebrations.
Marino also suggests experimenting with new traditions. For example, if evening confusion and agitation are a problem, turn your holiday dinner into a holiday lunch or brunch. Find out more tips at alz.org.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you can donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-835-1478. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now. Call 1-800-835-1478. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher for donating. Call now, 1-800-835-1478. That's 1-800-835-1478.
And that's Viewpoints for this week. Viewpoints is a production of MediaTrax Communications. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to learn more about upcoming shows and find a library of past programs on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. Plus, you'll always find previous segments and more information about our guests at viewpointsradio.org. Join us again next week for another edition of Viewpoints.
Coming up on Viewpoints.
They wash the arm off with a little wine or spirits of wine. They stamp on the pattern, and then the tattoo artist goes to work with 2 steel needles.
What was it like to get a tattoo in the 16th century? Then,
the fact that everything's on social media nowadays, so you just got to make sure you're minding your P's and Q's.
Life-changing insights from a former professional football player. I'm Marty Peterson.
and I'm Gary Price. These stories in depth on your public affairs magazine, Viewpoints.